Hello, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. And how are you doing today? It's the last trading day of the week. It's Friday. All right, let's quickly confirm that we're on the same page here. So if you can see my screen and you can hear my voice clearly, kindly type in hi in the comment section so that we can get this session started. So I want to see some response, please. So if you can see my screen, you can hear my voice clearly. Kindly type in hi so that we can get the session started. So I will be waiting for response so that I get the signal that we are on the same page here. All right, so I will be loading up the charts now to see what we have here. All right. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. Hi, Max. Good morning to you. Hey, Carrie, I can see you. Good morning. And thank you for that confirmation. Who else do we have here? We have Labato. We also have 12692. Good morning. Okay, Tabani. Good morning. Thank you very much for that confirmation. All right. Who else do we have here again? We have 930. Good morning. 657. Good morning to you. Okay, thank you, Labato. Good morning. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. If I didn't, please don't mind me. All right. Let's take this as a confirmation that we are good to go. So I'm so excited to welcome you once again to yet another promising session on the Extreme Speed Life Hub. My name is Sheriff Garamola, and as usual, I will be your host in the next 1 hour where we shall be going on a trading journey, evaluating the financial market using technical parameters to identify trading opportunities lining up for us today. Well, today is the last trading day of the week, and obviously, we normally take precautionary measures on this kind of day because when it comes to the last trading day of the week, the reflection we see on the charts is more of a result of participants in the market taking their profit from whatever they have made throughout the week, and we shall be seeing this reflection in the form of an opposite direction of where price has been prior to this present day. So I will be giving you a note or an advice on how we want to be managing our trades during the last trading day of this week. And as well, we also have some economic events that are coming up today, macroeconomic events, which, from my opinion, is going to be a major catalyst for price movements for today. And if we look at what we have here on Friday, we have, let's see what we have here. So we already have the Bank of Japan's governor's speech, which happened over 12 hours ago. And then we have the RBA governor's lowest speech also. We also had the President Lagarde speech also, which also came up earlier on this morning. And the almighty one is the non-farm payroll, which is coming up in how many hours from now? I think 2 hours from now, we should be having the non-farm payroll. And obviously, participants in this market will be anticipating this event. And we shall be seeing the reflection of this anticipation on our charts as price action. So we are going to be looking at how this event is going to be affecting price movements. And as you can see, consensus is projecting that we shall be having a reduction in the employment. As you can see here, we have a projection of 200K against what we had last month, which was 261,000. So let's see what's going to come up today. If it's going to meet up with the expectation, is it going to surpass the expectation, or is it going to be below expectation? And if we look at what happened here on Wednesday, that is the ADP employment, I think we have a clue of what our expectation might likely be here. As you can see, we have a negative figure for the ADP, which is 127k against the previous month of 239, which is also below the consensus here. So there is a likelihood that we might be having a reduction in the um, non-farm payroll here. Let's see how this is going to play out. But I have the confidence that the price movement, the price action on our chart will give us a clue of where price might be heading towards. Then we also have something coming up here for the net change in employment and the unemployment rate, which is going to be affecting the Canadian dollar. So we all know that we have the USDCAD, which is one of the pairs we have been monitoring since the beginning of this week, which we're also profitable in it as well. So we want to see how this event also will be affecting this pair. So this is also coming up in 2 hours from now. So these are the events we are going to be expecting for today, and we are going to be taking all these events into consideration while analyzing the market. So on this note, let's dive into the charts and let's see what is going on currently in the market. So right now, the first pair we are going to be looking at is the USOil. And what was our expectation as at yesterday? So during the live session yesterday, we were around this level here. I think somewhere around the $81 area. And if you remember vividly, we have been enjoying this bullish momentum here since the beginning of the week. So this is where price started the week within the consolidation phase around the $74.50 level and the $74 area. So we saw a consolidation phase here with a breakout of the channel, giving us a signal that the movement for this week is obviously going to be bullish, and this is exactly what happened here since the beginning of the week. We have been enjoying that bullish momentum. At least price has moved. Let's see how many pips since the beginning of the week. Right now it has moved over 750 pips, which is very huge at this point. And for those who have been part of this trading journey since the beginning of the week, kudos to you on this one. So yesterday we were around the $81 level, and I was able to identify a structure here right within the $81 level and the $80. It was actually the $80.50 area here, but during the early hours of today I had to do some readjustments here so that it can suit the current structure. So we had a consolidation phase around the $80 level, at least in the last 48 hours here, and the resistant level here around the $81 level. And one thing I stated here yesterday is that we shall be looking forward to a breakout retest of the structure to give us a clue that price might likely be going to the upside. And if price breaks down the support level here, which also shares a confluence with this temporary bullish trend line, we might be looking forward to a bearish momentum if price moves in that direction. So in that regard, we said if price breaks down that trend line, break down the $80 level, then we might be looking forward to selling pressure below this structure to take advantage of that bearish momentum. So we identified a demand zone, a buy zone around the $77 level and the $75.50 area. So price did not move that way as projected, and instead price moved in up to the upside. So we saw the breakout of that structure. We saw a retest on our lower time frame, which pushed price further to the upside, and we saw a little breakout of the $82 level, and price moved about how many pips in our favor before we started seeing that bearish momentum. It moved over 200 pips in our direction before we started seeing that selling pressure that came back again into the entry zone. So for those who took advantage of this opportunity too as well, kudos to you, and I'm sure you moved your stop loss accordingly to lock in some profits so that you don't get caught up in any sudden pullback. Well, if you didn't do that and you move your stop loss to break even, well, you would still be in profit if you have been with us since the beginning of the week. So right now, as we head into the New York session today, and also taking into consideration the fact that the NFP is also coming, and this is also an event that will be affecting the price of the US oil. So what we want to be looking forward to is to see how we want to be taking advantage of this move. So we are going to be identifying a structure here and using whatever parameters we are able to identify here to give us a clue of what our expectation will be like. So now that we have the structure here, one thing I was able to identify here in the last, let's see how many hours that is. I think over 12-14 hours from now, we have been witnessing a buying pressure right around the $81 level. So price has been caught within that consolidation phase here, and I've been seeing tendencies that we might be having another wave of bullish momentum in such a way that price might likely break out of the $82 level, followed by buying pressure on our lower time frame, with price moving to our TP targets, which we have located at the $85 level since the beginning of the week. So as the situation is right now, the next thing I want us to do here is to scale up to the daily time frame, and let's see what is going on the daily time frame, and let's have an holistic view if whatever structures we have here on the daily time frame still supports a bullish momentum at this juncture. So I will be scaling up to the daily time frame here so that we can have an holistic view, a better perspective of what is really going on in this market. So here we are on the daily time frame, and remember vividly, this was a structure we identified here at the beginning of the week. And what we noticed at the beginning of this week was that price has been caught within a consolidation phase right around the $78 level here, which has been a strong demand zone since the month of September. And then we had the $93.50 area around here, which has been a selling niche for participants in this market, as we saw that every attempt by the buyers to break above the structure has been met with strong resistance from the sellers, which finally led price coming back again into the demand zone a couple of weeks ago. Now, in addition to the structure here is the $85 level, which I was able to identify. And if we go to as far back as the month of August, we can see how this level has been a major determinant of price action. Look at what happened here in the month of August. We saw how this level was holding buying pressure at one point in time. And if we fast forward into the month of September, we saw how sellers took over this market, negating all buying attempts here with a final breakdown of the $85 level. And throughout the month of September, price has continued to trade below that structure to emphasize the strength of the sellers at that particular point in time. However, during the first week of the month of October, we saw the significant move which took price out of that $85 level, breaking out of the bearish trend line here to give us a bullish signal. And if we recollect vividly, we will remember that this move to the upside here was as a result of the OPEC Plus decision to cut oil production. And we saw that impulsive move here. Price came back to do a retest of structure, and we were actually hoping that this move was going to incite another wave of bullish momentum, considering the potential effect of the cutting of oil production. So this was not successful as sellers took over again, pushing price down, retest the $85 level with a final breakdown of that $85 level in the month of November. And from a technical standpoint, whenever we have a breakdown of a structure like this, you can see here we have the breakdown of the $85 level, which also lines up with that bullish trend line, the green line on your screen here. And whenever we see a breakdown of structure, we expect that one point in time price might likely come back, do a retest of that structure, followed by selling pressure on our lower time frame to incite another wave to the downside. Or on the contrary, we might be having a break above of that bullish trend line, retest of structure to send price skyrocketing one more time. So these are the scenarios we were actually expecting at the beginning of the week, and we saw this consolidation phase around this area since the beginning in the last 2 weeks here. And considering the fact that we have a memory for buying power around the zone, we saw this happen in the month of September. You can see the same thing happen around here, and we started seeing consolidation phase around this area. So we kept our options open with the hopes that we might be having a counter trend opportunity back into the structure before that bearish momentum happens. And that is exactly what has been happening since the beginning of the week. So we took advantage of this move, and price has been trading to the upside. So at this point in time, we are at a very critical level here, as we are looking at how we want to be trading this during the New York session today. And so what we are looking forward to on our lower time frame is to have an holistic view of what is really happening around the $82 level. As you can see here, yesterday we saw sharp rejection of the $82.50 level here, and if we look into the past here, look at what happened mid-month of November. We saw selling pressure around the $82.50 level. So this is a level we want to take into consideration going into the New York session today. So we are going to be looking forward to how price is going to relate to the $82.50 level. So if we are going to be having a breakout of that structure, if we are going to be having a breakout of that structure, then a retest of structure followed by buying pressure on our lower time frame will give us a confirmation that we should be joining our bullish momentum to the upside. However, if we have selling pressure right below that structure with reversal patterns on our lower time frame, then we might be in for another wave of bearish momentum. So these are the structures we are going to be looking at on the 1 hour time frame. Then there's another thing I want to let you know here, based from a fundamental perspective, is the fact that the OPEC Plus is going to be having a meeting, end of the year meeting. We don't know when that is going to come up. I think the second week of the month of December, thereabout. And I'm of the opinion that based on what participants in the market are saying, there is a sentiment that this meeting might likely push price to the upside when it happens. So these are the things we are going to be looking at even next week. But for today, we want to be seeing how price is going to be relating to the $82.50 level before we make a decision of either adding more position to our buy trade, or we get ready to sell the US oil. So in this regard, we will have to scale down to the 1 hour time frame. So let's just do that. So we shall be scaling down to the 1 hour time frame. So let's scale down to the 1 hour time frame. Okay, sorry about that. So can you hear me now? All right. So we are going to be scaling down to the 1 hour time frame. So we want to see how the $82.50 level, which we identified on the daily time frame, we want to see how price action is going to be relating to that structure. So at this point in time, like I said earlier, we're at around the $81 level. So I'm of the opinion that we might be having an opportunity to buy right above the $81 area. So as long as price remains above the $81 area, we want to hold on to our buy position. Personally, I have a buy position running at this point, but the most important structure here that will make us feel comfortable about the US oil, buying the US oil, is if price breaks out of the $82.50 level, which we identified on the daily time frame. So I have readjusted my structure here to suit in that expectation. So above the $82.50 level should be giving us a leverage to add more position, or if you are not in this trade, to join the rally to the upside. And if I start seeing aggressive move right above the $82.50 level, I will be left with no choice but to extend my TP target into somewhere around the probably between the $80 and the $89 area, locking my profit below the $85 level. If price breaks out of that structure, look out for opportunities again to add more position at a breakout retest of the structure, as I will continue to guide my position judiciously by moving my stop loss accordingly to protect the position against any sudden pullback at this point. So these are my views here on the US oil for buying the US oil, this is what I will be looking forward to during the New York session. Now, the other scenario that we want to be looking at, just in case the buy momentum doesn't come in here, is if price breaks down the $81 level in such a way that we see price break down that temporary bullish trend line, which I was able to identify here. Remember, we had this temporary bullish trend line figured out here, which price has been respecting since Tuesday of this week. We have been seeing buying pressure right above that level. So if at any point in time during the New York session today price breaks down that trend line, then I want to be seeing this as a bearish signal. And if it's followed up with selling pressure on our lower time frame right below the structure, then I want to be adding more position to my existing trade. Then a further breakdown of the $79.50 level here, a level which has been a strong resistance point for sellers in this market during the course of this week here. As you can see on my screen here, if price breaks down that structure, remember I told you this is a selling niche at one point in time, then if a price breaks down that structure here, which also shares a confluence with this bullish trend line that we have here since last week, then I'm the opinion that sellers have come back into this market. And if that happens, selling pressure on my lower time frame below the structure should be giving me another opportunity to add more position to my existing trade. Then with a TP target somewhere between the $77.50 area and the $75.50 area. So these are the scenarios we shall be looking forward to during the New York session today. So like I said, let me do a quick and simple recap of what our expectations are. So if price continue to trade above the $81 level, we continue to feel comfortable in our buy position. But if price breaks down this bullish trend line here, the temporary bullish trend line here, then a sell signal has come into this market. Retest of structure followed by selling pressure should give us a leverage to join that decline to the downside. And with a further breakdown of the $79.50 level, which has been a strong selling niche since the beginning of the week, like I showed you here, will confirm that sellers have come to stay here. So these are the scenarios we are looking forward to. If you have any questions regarding what I have just explained so far, feel free to drop your inquiries in the comment section. So I will be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds to read through the chat and see if there are any questions before we move on to the next option. So let's see what we have here in the chat, in the comment section. So, okay. All right. I can see Innocent Babe already. Good morning to you. Well, I'm doing fine and trust you are doing well as well. Okay. All right, 7115, good morning to you. 7119, good morning. All right, Labato, I see you. Michael86, good morning. Wow, Michael, all right. Mihuwen, good morning. Via Boni, good morning to you. Susie MB, glad to have you around. Rafaelina is asking us to do something on the US oil, which we just did. I hope you were around when I was illustrating my expectation on the US oil. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop your inquiries in the comment section. So, all right. So let's see. Greetings 260. All right. Okay. In the absence of no questions, I guess we're on the same page here. So in that regard, I will be moving on to the next option, and the next option we'll be treating this morning is the US tech. Now, on the US tech, in fact, it was a very, very, let me say, I wouldn't want to use the word complicating here, but it's like we were in a dilemma yesterday as the market was caught within a consolidation phase around the $12,050 level, which you can see here, and the 11,980. So I had to do some readjustment here this morning after noticing the structure. So yesterday, when I saw the breakdown of the $12,000 level, which was where our support level was during the live session yesterday, we took advantage of some selling opportunities. And remember, I told you to move your stop loss to break even so that we don't get caught up in any sudden pullback that might likely happen here. And this is exactly what happened. So we saw a pullback, price came back up, did a little breakout of the $12,050 level. Price came back again, hoping that it's going to retest that structure to send price to the upside, but that was not what happened here. Price came back down. So at this point, when I started seeing this consolidation, this oscillation around this area, I opted out of this trade and waited out to see what is really going to be happening around this area. So what are your views on the US tech? Are you still in a trade on the US tech or not? Let me know if you are in this trade in the comment section. But at this point in time, it is very important that we take into consideration the fact that price has been in a consolidation phase since price tested the $12,050 level on where was that, on Wednesday. So following this impulsive move that took price into the $12,050 zone, we have been witnessing an indecision in this market right now. Though we had a little breakout of the 12,050 yesterday, but immediately price came within the channel, and since then we have been witnessing price action oscillating right within this channel. And whenever we see this kind of channel from a technical standpoint, we should know that we are with participants in this market are caught within an indecision phase right now, so they are very indecisive. There is no clue of where price will be heading towards as we head into the New York session. So what we are going to be looking forward to during the New York session is either a breakout of this channel to signal that price is going to the upside, or a breakdown of this channel to signal that price is going to the downside. And now if we look at the current structure closely following this impulsive move to the upside, well, from a technical standpoint, we should be expecting that one point in time price might want to go through a retracement of that impulse leg, which is a reflection of profit taking activities on the chart. That price might come back into our golden zone area, which we have identified at somewhere around the $11,700 level, a level which is a very significant structure on the daily time frame. Remember, I will be showing you that in the moment, especially for those who missed out on our views at the beginning of the week. So we are expecting that price might likely retrace back into that structure with the intention of inciting another wave of bullish momentum. So that is one perspective I was looking forward to yesterday. Then the other perspective that we might be looking forward to at this point is that the consolidation phase that we have been witnessing since yesterday here might transpose into a trend continuation pattern, which might likely come in the form of a bullish rectangle. And when we have such a rectangle like this, we should be expecting that price will break out the 12,050 at one point in time. Here retest of structure should be giving us a leverage, followed by buying pressure on our lower time frame should be giving us a leverage to join the rally to the upside. So these are the two scenarios we shall be looking forward to during the New York session today. So at this point in time, it's very important that we remain very patient, looking out for structures, break out of structure to give us a signal of where price will be heading towards. Now, the importance of the $11,700 level is well detailed on the daily time frame. So for the sake of clarity, I will be scaling up to the daily time frame so that we can see what I was explaining here on the 1 hour time frame. Now, the first thing we observed on the daily time frame is that price action has been on a long-term bearish momentum, as you can see on your screen, and as a result of this, I had this bearish trend line figured out after connecting the series of lower highs. But that's not the most important structure here. Things got a little bit interesting in the month of June when we started seeing buyers negating all selling opportunities around the $11,000 level. So we saw what happened here in the month of June. We saw buyers negated all selling pressure around that area. Then we saw the same thing happen in the month of September stroke the early days of the month of October to push price to the upside again. But one thing peculiar about the bullish pressure around this area was that it wasn't strong enough, as you can see, as soon as price got into the $11,700 level, which I showed you on the 1 hour time frame as a very key structure we started using at the beginning of the week to guide our trading activity here. So this is the 11,700 dollar level. So we saw as soon as price got into this area, sellers took over the market. In fact, it was a little bit stronger, and it's even shifted the demand zone further to the downside here. So we had a new demand zone below the previous one at the $10,500 level. So at the beginning of this month, we saw buying pressure again coming here, which led to the final breakout of the $11,700 level a couple of weeks ago. And if we zoom in and look at that structure closely here, we saw that since price broke out of that structure here on the second week of this month, we saw that price was caught within a consolidation phase, and we were thinking that we might be having a reversal pattern here, that price might break out of the neckline area, do a retest, then probably push price to the upside. But that was not what happened here on Wednesday. Then we saw another engulfing candle which finally broke out of the $11,700 level, now breaking out of the previous resistant level where sellers has been holding as a niche since the beginning of the month. We saw the breakout of that structure at this point on Wednesday to give us a strong signal that we might be having a bullish momentum. So now with the breakout of the 11,900 and a sharp rejection of that structure during the New York session yesterday, we might be having a trend continuation pattern, that is price evolving into a bullish rectangular pattern here that might incite another wave of bullish momentum. So with the current structure we have here on the daily time frame, I think it will be safe for us to be looking out for buying opportunities at this point. And to make things easier for us during the New York session today, we'll scale down to the 1 hour time frame, use the structure we have here at between the 12,050 and 11,980 as our guide. Now, in addition to the structure, that is the flat channel we have here, I brought out my line charts and I connected the lower highs here, and I had this trend line figured out at this point, though we had some sharp breakout of the structure, but immediately price came back within that structure here. So what I will be looking forward to here, a breakout of this trend line, which appears to have happened around this area, is tending towards a bullish expectation here. So if you are not comfortable buying around here, well, I will be suggesting that you hold on, wait for price to break out of the $12,050 level, taking out all the sell position here, then this will be confirming that we having a bullish trend continuation pattern. Then if you retest of structure or followed retest of structure, probably back into the trend line or back into the resistant level here. But the most important thing we want to be looking out for is buying pressure on our lower time frame. Then we could actually join the rally to the upside on this one. So that is how I'm expecting us to trade the US tech for today. And for the buying opportunity here, where will our take profit target be? Well, today is Friday. We only have less than 12 hours to go for today, so we shouldn't be too aggressive with our take profit target. So I will be taking this move as a guide, extending it into the future. So using my Fibonacci extension tool and aim at, let's say, the 1618 area in the meantime. So between the 127 and the 1618. So if we are going to be buying right above this trend line here with a stop loss right below the previous structure, and we aim at a maximum of 1618, which falls around the $12,240 level here. So that should be giving us over 200 pips if price moves as expected here. So that is my, oh, sorry, I just deleted that. Okay. So that is my expectation here on the US tech. So if price then breaks down the 11,980, well, we want to be seeing this as a bearish signal retest to structure. We want to see this as a retracement phase of the impulse leg. Then we should be having our take profit target around the $11,700 level. So these are my scenarios here on the US tech. If you have questions, feel free to drop your inquiries in the comment section. All right, so that is that on the US tech. So let me quickly run through the charts in the next 10 to 15 seconds. Let's see what we have here before I move on to the next pair. So we have 603. Good morning to you. We have okay, Innocent Babe, glad to hear you are doing fine. And then we have Jim Mam, 1, good morning. 245, good morning to you as well. 450, good morning. All right. So, in the absence of no questions, I want to assume that we're all on the same page. Then, another thing I used to advise is that you might want to munch my screen or record my screen so that you can use it as a reference point when you are about to make your own individual decision on the instruments we discuss here during the live session. So moving on, we move on to the next pair, and the next pair we are going to be looking at is the Euro USD. And on the Euro USD, we begin to see bullish momentum here. Remember, we have been expecting bearish momentum since the beginning of the week on the Euro USD, and we actually took advantage of a sell opportunity here right below the 1.04500 level on Monday, which gave us about how many pips? To over 100 pips here before this bullish momentum started from this demand zone, which I told you I missed actually. And for those who took advantage of this bullish momentum, well, kudos to you guys for being on standby to take advantage of this move. Now, during the live session yesterday, where were we? During the live session yesterday, we were around the 1.04500 area, and with selling pressure identified around that area during the live session, I was thinking that price might likely respect that 1.04500 level, which has been holding selling niche for the past 2 weeks here to send price crashing to the downside. But that was not the case at the situation here, as we started seeing bullish momentum which took price again to the upside. Well, at this point in time, I told you yesterday that for me to buy the Euro USD, I will be waiting for a breakout of the 1.0500 level, which was a significant level that we identified on the daily time frame. So for the sake of clarity and for those who missed out on the live session yesterday, let us scale up to the daily time frame. Let's quickly have an holistic view of what we had there on the daily time frame before we come back to the 1 hour time frame and make our decision for today. Now, on the daily time frame, the first thing we observed here was that price action has been on a long-term bearish momentum. In fact, we have been witnessing a bearish momentum on the Euro USD in the last 2 years. And as a result of this one, we were able to connect a series of lower highs to give us that resultant bearish trend line that you can see on your screen. Now, if we zoom into the current structure, that is the area between the month of May and the present moment, we can see how important the 1.03750 has been. If we look at what happened in the month of May, this level was holding buying pressure at one point. Then in the month of June, the same thing happened here, though the buy pressure wasn't strong enough, as this was met with a strong resistance from the sellers, which finally led to the breakdown of the 1.03750 level in the month of July. And since the breakdown of the structure happened in the month of July, we have been witnessing price trading below the structure. Look at what happened here in the month of August. Though buyers tried to break above that structure, but it wasn't strong enough to hold buy pressure, as another selling pressure came in here to send price crashing to the downside. And what this simply tells us is that since the month of July, the sellers have been very, very strong in this market. Now, in the last 3 weeks here, we saw price come back into the 1.03750, and when price came into that structure, we have been witnessing a consolidation phase around this area, hereby emphasizing how critical that level is. Now, if we look at the structure closely, we can see how critical it is. It shares a confluence with the bearish trend line, which has been holding selling pressure for the last 2 years here, and also the 1.03750 level, which was holding selling niche at one point in time, as you can see here. So we have this structure figured out here, and one thing we stated here is that if we start seeing reversal pattern in such a way that price continue to trade below the 1.03750 level, we want to be looking for selling opportunities. But if price trades above the structure, we might be looking for buying opportunities at this point. But if you look at what happened here in the last 3-4 days now, we saw what happened here on Monday stroke Tuesday. We saw selling pressure here. So this selling pressure here didn't allow us to buy. For me personally, didn't allow me to buy the Euro USD, as I'm of the opinion that selling pressure could still take us below the 1.03750 level here. And if you remember what I said yesterday, look at the sell pressure right below the 1.0500, which happened last week Tuesday, and this Tuesday again. On Monday to this week again, we saw another selling pressure for the 1.0500 level. So, and I said yesterday that this 1.0500 level will be a yardstick for buying the Euro USD for me. So, if for those who took advantage of this buy opportunity, well, you will definitely be in a good position. But for people like me who missed out on the opportunity here, well, a breakout of the 1.0500 level, retest of structure should be giving me an opportunity to join that trend continuation to the upside. So at this point in time, we want to see what is really happening right around the 1.0500 level to make a decision for today. So in order to do this, we want to scale down to the 1 hour time frame. And when we scale down to the 1 hour time frame, this is what we have here yesterday. So during the New York session yesterday, we finally witnessed a breakout of the 1.0500 level. As you can see here, price broke out of that structure, came back to do a retest of structure, buying pressure right around that level, emphasized the strength of the buyers at this point, and it was a good level to buy the Euro USD. And so for those of us who missed out on the opportunity here to buy the Euro USD around this area, well, we had the market present us with another chance to buy around this area. So for those who took advantage of this move yesterday, well done. Kudos to you for being on standby to take advantage of that move. So right now, going into the New York session, the most important structure here is right around the 1.0500 level and the 1.05400 level. And why is that? If we look at what has been happening here since yesterday, we can see that price has been caught within a consolidation phase between the 1.05400 level and the 1.0500 area. And one thing for sure you can see here is that we're beginning to see higher lows around this area as price in the last 12, 13, 15 hours, price is yet to come back into the 1.0500 level, giving me a sign that a bullish momentum could be coming in at this point. And at the same time, the consolidation phase here also emphasizes the indecision in this market. And if we are anticipating a major event like the NFP, for instance, we should definitely be seeing something like this indecision here, where participants will be looking forward to what that event is going to be giving us in order to decide where price will be going to. And prior to NFPs like this, most of the time money is taken out of the market to protect their position against any sudden pullback. So liquidity might be a little bit low here, further emphasizing the indecision in the market. So to make things clear enough, for those who are taking advantage of this opportunity here right around the 1.0500 level, one thing I'll be advising us to do here is to move our stop loss accordingly, lock in some profit at this point. For me personally, I have moved my stop loss to break even. That is around the 1.0500 level. And one thing I want to be looking forward to during the New York session today is price breaking out of the 1.05400 level to give me a confirmation that the buyers have very, very strong at this juncture in this market. So buying above the 1.05400 level looks very promising at this point. So this is what I'll be looking forward to today, buying right above that structure, and let's see what happened afterwards. Now, if that happens, we buy above the 1.04500 level. But one thing for sure we always want to put into consideration as traders is that we keep our buyers open. just in case any other thing happens. We want to be getting ready, we want to be on standby to take advantage of that move. So what I'm simply saying is that if price does not break above that structure, then we see a situation where price continues to the downside in such a way that it breaks down this very important key level at the 1.0500 level, a strong psychological level considering the round figure of that price. Well, at this point, I want to be seeing this as a bearish signal, which could be a reflection of the selling pressure we have been witnessing around the 1.05400 level. So that is why I said to buy right now. I want to see price take out all the sell position here, gather more liquidity for buying opportunity, and then right above the 1.05400 level should be a good opportunity to buy. But if price does not break above that structure and instead we start seeing selling pressure pushing price right below the 1.0500 level, then I'm of the opinion that sellers have come to stay. And if a retest of structure happens followed by selling pressure on our lower time frame, well, we want to be getting ready to join that decline to the downside, which might be a reflection of profit-taking activities of those who took advantage of this move right here. So that breakdown could turn out to be a retracement of that impulse leg, which might anticipate another wave of bullish momentum. So if a sudden opportunity comes in here, that is price breaks down the 1.0500 level, then we want to be having our take profit target within our golden zone area. So how do we get that? Then we should bring our Fibonacci retracement tool, run it through the previous impulse leg, and we should be aiming at an area between the 50 and the 78.6% of the previous impulse leg. So that we have something like this. And for the sake of clarity, we just label it. So we label it TP target zone. And at the same time, it shall be serving as a buy zone just in case we start seeing buying pressure around that area. So we have this center figured out. So we have this center figured out here. So we shall be looking forward to buying opportunity around that area. That is if price breaks down the 1.0500 level. So if that does not happen, price breaks above the 1.05400, then we want to be joining a buy position here. So these are my views here on the EURUSD. If you have any questions, feel free to drop your inquiries in the comment section of this video. All right, on that case, on this note, I will just quickly move on to the next pair because of time here. I have less than 9 minutes to go, so I want to quickly run through all the remaining pairs that we have here that we have been monitoring since the beginning of the week. So here we are on the USDCAD. Let me quickly run through the daily time frame. I think the most important information is on the daily time frame. So on the daily time frame, what we observed at the beginning of the week was that we had this bullish trend line figured out after connecting the series of higher lows. So we had a bullish trend line. Price has been bullish since the beginning of the year. And well, we had a very interesting structure around the 1.32 level, which started at around the month, I think the later half of this year, which was in the month of July, where the 1.32 level was holding selling pressure, negating all buying attempt at that particular point in time. However, during the later part of the month of September, we finally saw the breakout of that key level at the 1.32 to give us a signal of a bullish momentum. And from a technical standpoint, whenever we witness a breakout of structure like this, we expect that one point in time price might likely come back, do a retest of structure with the intention of inciting another wave of bullish momentum. And this is exactly what happened here, as it took over 2 months for price to come back to do a retest of the 1.3200 level. And when price came back to do the retest of that structure, we started seeing buying pressure around that area, where price action transitioned into a reversal pattern in the form of a double bottom structure. And whenever we have a reversal pattern like this, we want to be identifying a neckline area. Around that area, which shall be our yardstick for trading activity. So the neckline was identified around the 1.35 level. And if you look at how important that structure has been in the last couple of months here, we saw that it has been a buy pressure at one point in time before we saw the breakdown of that structure here in the first week of the month of November. And since then, price has somehow been respecting that area. Now, with the final breakout of that structure here during this week, it was a good signal that a reversal pattern is valid at this point. So with the breakout of the 1.35, obviously we expect a retest of structure. Then this was followed by this engulfing candle, which took price right back into the structure where it started this week. So now to buy the USD card here right now, well, I want to be seeing a situation where price will climb above the 1.35 one more time to incite another wave of bullish momentum. But before it breaks out of the 1.35, is it possible for us to see buy pressure around this area so that we can join that momentum very early? This is what we are going to be looking at on the 1 hour time frame. And at the same time, we cannot ignore a possible selling momentum here, considering the fact that price has been on a long-term bearish momentum. That is, since the month of September, we have been witnessing selling pressure around this area, hereby leading to a situation where price has continued to find lower highs and lower lows here. So you can see lower highs and lower lows. And what we saw here on Wednesday was more or less a sign that sellers are still very strong at this point, as despite we saw the breakout of the 1.35, this was followed by selling pressure the following day, breaking down the 1.35 to the downside. So in as much as we will be looking forward to buying pressure right around this area on the lower time frame, we also want to take into consideration that sellers might likely break down this bullish trend line, this temporary bullish trend line we identified during the early days of this week, in such a way that price breaks down, retest of that structure with selling pressure on our lower time frame, which might likely bring price back into this bullish trend line or into this key level again, or even break down the key level, retest to structure to send price going to the downside, hereby turning this reversal pattern here to a false one. So these are the scenarios we are going to be looking forward to on our lower time frame. So in order to do this, we will scale down to the 1 hour time frame, and on the 1 hour time frame we begin to see things more clearly. So on the 1 hour time frame, this is what we were able to observe here. So this is the 1.35 level, which was the very important key level we identified on the daily time frame, which is serving as the neckline of that reversal pattern we identified on the daily time frame. Remember, so that is the 1.35 level. And for this week on the USD card, it is important I stated that we have been very profitable. Remember, we took advantage of this opportunity here right above the 1.34350. We bought there. We also bought right above the, where was that? 1.35. That is the neckline of that reversal pattern. We took another opportunity here, so we had two positions. We gave us about over 350 pips thereabout before this bearish momentum started. So price has come back again into this area around the 1.34350, and one thing you will observe here in the last 48 hours is that price has been caught within a consolidation phase here, hereby emphasizing the indecision in this market. And as a result of this, participants are actually waiting for a catalyst that will drive price action, bring more liquidity into the market to push price to either way it wants to go. So what I will be looking forward to here, yesterday we were expecting buying opportunity here around this area. I shared this on my public platform, and we saw that though buyers tried to push price to the upside around this level, but it was met with strong resistance from the sellers. And if you look at the structure here, look at the wicks of this candle, we can see we've been witnessing sharp rejection, which give us traces of sellers coming in at this point. And if you look at what has been happening here in the last 3 to 4 hours, we have been witnessing sharp rejection. So what I did here is to make our job easier during the New York session today. So what I did simply is to In addition to the 1.34350 level, which shall be our yardstick, that is, if price remains above this level, we want to be comfortable in our buy position. And if price drops below the 1.34350 level, we want to be looking out for selling opportunities. So to make our job easier, what I did was to connect this channel here. So I was able to see higher lows here. So I was able to connect this higher lows to give us what I will call a temporary bullish trend line at this point in time. So what I'll be looking forward to here is this trend line going to continue to guide bullish momentum here, or are we going to be having a breakdown of this trend line to further emphasize the strength of the sellers at this point, which we can see that has been happening here in the last 24 hours. So if a breakdown of the 1.34350 level happens, I think is a risk worth taking to sell the USD card at this point in time. So these are the views I'm looking forward to trade the USD card for today. So in anticipation of the NFP, these are the structures, these are the likely possibilities that could happen here. So we have two parameters to guide trading activities. We have a 1.34350 and that temporary bullish trend line that I have identified there. So that is that on the USD card. If you have questions, kindly drop it in the comment section. I will try to check the comment section from time to time as I continue on the next pair. So the next pair I will be treating is the USDJPY. I'm already out of time, so I will be running through this very, very quickly so that I can cover all the pairs we have been monitoring since the beginning of the week. So on the USDJPY, I really don't have much to say here, as price has broken that structure we have identified here at the 1.36 level. So if you are taking advantage of the breakdown retest of the structure, well, very well done to you for taking advantage of that move, as you will currently be running with about over 230 pips in profit at this point in time. Wow, that is a good move if you had joined that. For me, I missed out on that opportunity sincerely, and I was very wary of selling at this point in time, considering the fact that price is close to the key level we identified on the daily time frame. So we have finally seen a breakdown of that key level here. That is the 135 Japanese yen. So let me quickly run through the daily time frame so that you can see what I'm talking about here. And for those who missed out on the sessions at the beginning of the week. So this is what we saw here on the USDJPY at the beginning of the week. We saw that price has been on a long-term bullish momentum. So we had this bullish trend line figured out here. And then the next thing we noticed was that in the month of August, we saw a reversal pattern right above that bullish trend line, which further emphasizes the bullish strength here, breaking out of the neckline of that reversal pattern at the 135 Japanese yen length in the month of August. So we saw the breakout of that structure here. And one thing I stated here is that whenever we cite a breakout of a structure, we expect that at one point in time, price will likely come back to do a retest of that structure. But at this point in time, it took over 2-3 months for price action to come back into that structure here, as you can see here. And what we saw here since the beginning of today is that price has broken down that structure, further emphasizing that sellers appears to be gaining much momentum at this area. So we are at a very critical point in the market right now, as price is right around that very important key level, which is also a strong psychological level considering the round figure of that price. So what I'll be doing here, like I said, I'll still remain very patient here. So we shall be scaling down to the lower time frame. Look at how price is going to be relating to the 135 Japanese yen level. If we see a situation where price comes back to do a retest of that structure, followed by selling pressure right below the 135 Japanese yen level, well, a selling opportunity might be evolving at that particular point in time. However, if price breaks out of the 135 Japanese yen level to the upside, then we might be seeing this breakdown as a false breakdown, as we might be in for a huge momentum that will incite another wave of bullish momentum at this point. So we want to scale down to the lower time frame. Let's look at what is really happening around this area, and let's use the structure we are able to identify there to determine our next line of action. So here we are on the 1 hour time frame, and it's important I I identified that 135 Japanese yen level, which we identified on the 1 hour time frame, sorry, on the daily time frame rather. So we have the 135 Japanese yen level around this level. So I will be using my gold color to emphasize its importance. So we shall be relabeling this 135 Japanese yen level. So allow me to use my gold color to emphasize its importance here. So we already have the breakdown of that structure here during the early hours of today. So if you are taking advantage of that, well, kudos to you for being on standby. Well, I will be looking forward to if price might likely come back to do a retest of that structure, followed by sudden pressure on my lower time frame. Then I will be willing to join that decline to the downside at that point. However, like I said on the daily time frame, if price breaks out of the 135 to the upside, well, we might be getting ready for another wave of bullish momentum if we start seeing buying pressure right above the 135 Japanese yen on our lower time frame. So these are my views here on the USDJPY. So for me, I remain patient here to wait out for opportunities to line up for me to be able to take advantage of that move. So for this one, I've missed out the selling opportunity. So I'd rather not jump in a moving train at this point in the market. So that is that on the USDJPY. If you have questions, feel free to drop your inquiries in the comment section. So let me quickly run through the last pair for this week. And the last pair we are going to be looking at today is the XAUUSD, which is the gold. And on the gold, we have a very interesting situation here. Yesterday we had an opportunity to buy the gold right above the $1,786 level. Remember, we're expecting selling pressure here, and to make things easier for us during the New York session yesterday, I was able to identify the 1,779 level, and I told you critically well that below the structure will be giving us a selling opportunity. That is, price breaks down, rates that structure, we want to be selling the XAUUSD. And peculiar to my style of trading, we always try to keep our options open. That if price does not go to the downside and if it continues to go to the upside, are we going to ignore that possibility? Of course not. So what I said here yesterday is that if price breaks out of the $1,786 level, we might want to be taking advantage of that bullish momentum, which is exactly what has happened here. And price, if you are taking advantage of that move right above the $1,786 level, well, kudos to you for being on standby to take advantage of that move, as you will currently be running with about over 1,400 pips in profit. So well done on that. So right now, what I'll be advising you to do here is to move your stop loss, lock in some profit, and I think the most appropriate area is around the 1,796, somewhere right below that structure, as we have a structure here which appears to be holding buying pressure. So that is the 1,796. So let me relabel this for the sake of clarity. So we have this area 1,796 level. So we have that support level here. So now going into the New York session today, remember we are anticipating the NFP, and obviously when we are anticipating that cash will be moved out from the market, hereby reducing the liquidity in the market. And what you will see on the chart is a form of indecision in this market, which appears to have been happening in the last 12 18 hours now. As we can see, price has been caught within a consolidation phase right around the 1,805 level and the 1,796 level to emphasize the indecision in this market. So I have told you, move your stop loss accordingly, lock in some profit here, as we don't want to get caught up in any sudden pullback that might likely happen from this juncture. So going into the New York session today, we need to be very patient and careful to look out for a signal so that we can take advantage of that move. So what signals are we going to be looking at from this juncture? So whenever we have a channel like this from a technical standpoint, we should be expecting a signal in the form of either a breakout to the upside, taking out all the sell position around the 1,805 level to emphasize the strength of the buyers at this point, or a breakdown of the 1,796, taking out all the buy position around this area to emphasize the strength of the sellers, after which probably selling pressure right below this level could incite a counter trend opportunity. And if you look at the structure very well, you will see that since the beginning of this week, we have been witnessing bullish momentum here. And as a result of this, we were able to connect a series of higher lows here to give us that resultant bullish trend line, which you can see on your screen. So if a counter trend opportunity is presented here at a breakdown of the 1796 level, our take profit target should be sitting around that bullish trend line, which also shares a confluence with that key level we identified yesterday at the 1779 level. So, and if you look at the structure very well, we saw the breakout of the 1799, and from a technical standpoint, there is a likelihood that price might come back to do a retest of that structure to incite another wave of bullish momentum. And it's so nice that that level also shares a confluence with the bullish trend line that has been holding bullish pressure since the beginning of the month. Sorry, of this week rather. Well, of the month, right? Anyways, the month started yesterday. So we saw how that level has been holding buying pressure. So if a breakdown of the 1796 happened, taking out all the buy position around this area, well, we might be in to join that retracement, which is going to be as a result of this impulsive move, retracement into our golden zone area before that impulse second wave of bullish momentum happens. So that is one scenario we shall be looking forward to during the New York session today. Then the second scenario is a situation where this consolidation phase here will evolve into a trend continuation pattern in the form of a bullish rectangle. And how are we going to be looking out for a trend continuation here? Like I said earlier, a breakout of the 1805 level should be giving us that opportunity to buy the XAUUSD. If followed by buying pressure above this level, well, it's a better confirmation that buyers have come to stay here. So we want to be joining the trend continuation to the upside. So these are the scenarios that I will be looking forward to on the XAUUSD. So it's quite a simple setup. So I will advise us to be on standby so that we can take advantage of that move. So for those who are already in this trade, kindly move your stop loss. I told you earlier, please do so. NFP is coming up in an hour 30 minutes from now, so we don't want to get caught up in any sudden pullback that might likely happen at that point. So on this note, I would like to quickly do a quick recap of what our expectations are for today. Let's quickly look at all the pairs we deliberated on today before I call it a day. So the first commodity we looked at today is the US oil, and on the US oil, I was able to identify a structure here at around the $81 level where we have been seeing buying pressure around that area. And because of this, we took advantage of some opportunity there right above the $81 level. And currently we are at break even at this point. So let's continue to see what happens around this area. As long as price remains above the $81 level, we want to continue to be comfortable in our buy position. And if price continues to the upside in such a way that it breaks above the $82.50 level, remember we identified that structure on the daily time frame. Time will not permit me to run through that again. So we have breakout of the $82.50 level. If that also happens, this will give me further confirmation that the buyers are becoming stronger at this point. If buy pressure comes in, then we want to be joining that rally to the upside. Then I told you that if a breakout of this level happens, I might want to be extending my TP to somewhere around the $89, $88 area, where if price comes into the $85 level, I will move my stop loss again accordingly, and a breakout of that structure should be giving me a confirmation to add more position to my existing trade. However, if selling pressure start coming in where price action evolves into a reversal pattern, well, we want to be getting ready to join that decline to the downside. So that is the scenario for buying opportunity here on the US oil. Then the other scenarios we were able to paint here was that if price breaks down this bullish trend line, a trend line here which I call my temporary trend line, you can see the one on your screen right now. So if price breaks down that structure, well, that is a sign that sellers are coming in, and this might likely be a retracement of that impulse leg that started at the beginning of this week. So if we have a breakdown of that trend line, price retest of structure followed by selling pressure on our lower time frame, further breaks down the $79.50 level, retest of structure, we want to add more position to our existing trade with a take profit target sitting around the 76.50 level, which is going to be serving as our take profit target for certain opportunities, and at the same time a buy opportunity when we start seeing buying pressure from that area. So it's also important I state here that we have been very profitable on the US oil since the beginning of the week, as we took advantage of this buy opportunity right above the $74 level. So that is my view here on the US oil. So I hope you'll be on standby to take advantage of any of this opportunity when it finally comes in. Now, the next option we treated is the US tech, and on the US tech, we can see we have an indecision right now, as price action has been caught within a channel right within the $12,050 level and $11,980 to further emphasize that indecision in this market. So participants are actually waiting for a catalyst that will drive price action. So liquidity is less in the market. There's an indecision in this market right now, as people are waiting for the NFP to come up, and whatever happens there will decide where price will be going to. So to make our job easier, we already have a structure we are going to be using to guide our action. So one thing I said is I had this trend line figured out here, though we had a little breakout of that structure, further emphasizing that there is a possible bullish momentum coming in here, but that is not the case. We are looking forward to a breakout retest of the structure to join above the trend line. However, if you don't feel comfortable buying around that area, well, buying above the 12,050 is looking very promising. That is a breakout of the resistant level of that channel, taking out all the sell position that we have been seeing here since yesterday. Then that will give us a confirmation to buy the US tech from that level. However, if price breaks down the 11,980 in such a way that we see breakdown retest to structure, well, selling pressure below the structure, we want to be selling with a take profit target somewhere around the $11,700 level, which is the very important key level we identified on the daily time frame. So let's see how price action plays out from this point in the market. So the next pair we treated is the EURUSD, and on the EURUSD, we took advantage of some buying opportunity right above the 1.0500 level yesterday, right above this level, and I have told you to move your stop loss accordingly, lock in some profit here as we anticipate the NFP coming up. So let's see how price action plays out at this point. Now, we have a channel right now between the 1.05400 level and the 1.0500 level. As you can see here, we have a channel figured out here. So we have a support level of this channel here. So I am looking forward to a signal in the form of either a breakout or breakdown of that channel. So whenever we have a channel like this, the next thing we want to be doing is to remain patient. Look out for either a breakout of this channel to the upside or a breakdown of this channel to give us a signal of where price is heading towards. But from the look of things, and considering the fact that price has been on a bullish momentum since the midweek, well, I'm looking forward to price breaking out of the 1.05400 level, where I will be looking forward to adding more position to our existing trade. Now, if the contrary happens, we want to be on standby to take advantage of that move when it happens too. Remember, we have moved our stop loss accordingly, locking some profit here. So if at any point in time price breaks down the 1.0500 level, a very strong psychological level, a level which also has at one point in time held selling pressure here. As you can see here, on Monday, we saw selling pressure from that level. So if price breaks down that structure, does a retest or selling pressure right below that level, we might be seeing this as a sign that sellers have come back again into this market, and then we want to be joining that decline to the downside. And if the decline continues, we shall be seeing this as a retracement of that impulsive move that started on Wednesday. So we had our TP zone around this area, somewhere around the 1.0400 level, where I said if we start seeing buying pressure around this area, we might want to be looking to join the second wave of that bullish momentum. So that is one scenario we are going to be looking at too as we head into the New York session, but things still look more bullish at this point in time. So we continue to hold on to our bullish bias. We sell unless we're only going to sell when price breaks down the 1.0500 level. Then we went on to talk about the USD card here. And on the USD card, I was able to identify a simple setup, a simple structure that we can use to guide our trading activity. Then the first one is the 1.34350. That's the key level. So what I simply said here is that if price trades below the structure, we want to be comfortable in our sell position, and if price continue to stay above the 1.34350, we remain comfortable in our buy position. Now, in addition to that key level, we have this trend line. I was able to figure this trend line out after noticing this consolidation phase here, which obviously is an anticipation of a major event coming up. There's an indecision here, so I connected a series of higher lows, give us that bullish trend line. So if a breakdown of that trend line happens, it further confirms that sellers are getting stronger in this market. And the other scenario is the trend line might continue to hold bullish pressure to push price to the upside. And if that happens, a breakout of the 1.35 level should be giving us an opportunity to add more position to our existing trade. So that is that on the USD card. Then we went on to talk about the USDJPY, where I said personally I remain patient here to wait out for structures. I couldn't sell the USDJPY yesterday because of how price is heading towards that very important key level at the 135 Japanese yen level. And for those who took advantage of that selling opportunity at the breakdown of the structure we identified yesterday, kudos to you guys, because you will be running with over 250 pips in profit right now. Just ensure that you move your stop loss accordingly, lock in some profit, and let's see how price action will play out. So for me, for people like me who missed out on this opportunity, I have said that I will remain patient here and see if price will come back to give me a second chance in the form of a retest of the 135 Japanese yen level, followed by selling pressure. Then I will likely join that decline to the downside. But if the contrary happens, price breaks out of that structure, followed by buying pressures right above the 135, we might be in for a bullish momentum. Then we close the day with the XAUUSD, that is the gold. And on the gold, we have a very simple setup which I have identified here to make our trading easy during the New York session. And what is the setup here? Is the channel we have between the 1,805 and the 1,796 level. So you can see we have a consolidation phase here. So we have a channel. So what we are going to be doing here is to remain patient, look out for either a breakout to buy or a breakdown to sell, which might likely be a retracement of the previous impulse leg in an anticipation of buying pressure around the 1,779, which also shares a confluence with the bullish trend line that has been holding buying pressure since the beginning of the week to join the second wave of that bullish momentum. So this is the simple setup we have here, and for us that we took advantage of this opportunity right above the 1,786 during the New York session yesterday, I have advised you to move your stop loss, lock in some profits right below the 1,796, and let's see how price action plays from this level. It has been a wonderful moment with you guys for this week, and it has been a profitable week for every single one of us here on the XAUUSD. Sorry, on the pairs we have been monitoring since the beginning of the week. And I want to wish you best of luck during the New York session today. Please be on standby so that you can take advantage of this move that we have been monitoring since the beginning of the week. Remember, the NFP is coming up in an hour or so, and then we also have something coming to affect the USD card too as well. We have the unemployment rate coming up also that same time, so we want to be on standby by locking our profit, protect your position against any sudden pullback that might likely happen from this point. So these are my views here. So I wish you best of luck today. I wish you a wonderful evening and a very, very beautiful weekend. I look forward to seeing you same time on Monday, 10 a.m. UTC, 11 a.m. West African time, right here on the Extreme Speed Live Hub, so that we can come here again, review our position, and get ready for the new week. On this note, I wish you a beautiful, beautiful day and weekend. Bye bye.